This podcast represents the opinions of the hosts of the Laugh Cry Club and guests on the show. The content here should not be taken as medical advice and is for informational purposes only. And because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions. Views and opinions expressed in the podcast are our own and do not represent that of our places of work. While we make every effort to ensure that the information we share is accurate, we welcome any comments, suggestions, or correction of errors. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Laugh Cry Club. We're so glad you're here. I'm Joy.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Chelsea. And if you have ever felt like laughing and crying at the same time, then this podcast is for you.
For you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you,
Yes.
and you, and you, and you, and you get a podcast, and you get a podcast.
I mean, if you're a human, this podcast is for you. If you're a human and you're going through the ebbs and flows of life, like most of us humans are, this podcast is for you.
Like, do you ever send your friend the WTF emoji, or maybe one day you're like, oh my gosh, I want to cry, but I have to laugh because the situation is so ridiculous. That's exactly what this podcast is about. We are 3 licensed therapists, so we have some knowledge about how to get through life with tools and things that could be rather helpful. I mean, there's plenty of ways that you can get through this life, but we've got some knowledge and some actual tips and tricks, as Chelsea likes to say. So we're glad you're here. We hope you stay. We hope you share it with a friend. And here we go. Who wants to kick off our laughs and cries of the week? Or Chelsea, you want to nominate?
Yeah, Chelsea, nominate.
Oh, well, no pressure at all. I will nominate as we start with our laughs and cries. We are going to pivot into a radical acceptance learning today after this. But let's start with the guts of the show that makes me so happy, our laughs and our cries. And I'm going to nominate our dun dun dun. Ra, ra. Did you like that roll of the tongue?
Oh, that was fancy.
No, I'm adding a little extra.
Like, you did that in the first episode, and I just love, I almost want to ask, like, where you get the dun 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 dun. Like, I'm like,
Oh, that's my little thing that I made up that I've just done for many years, where I go
gosh.
dun dun dun, or if it's something bad, it goes dun or womp womp womp. That one. So it's either dun dun dun,
way better.
or
It kind of
womp,
sounds like
womp, womp.
The Price is Right sound effects, if you ever.
Oh, maybe it's because I was on a
yes, it
game
is.
show once.
Yeah.
You were. Fun fact.
Fun fact: I was on a show, Deal or No Deal.
You were?
I sure
She was.
Yeah,
No way, with Howie Mandel?
I
For
touched
real.
him,
You did.
and he is a germaphobe, which is why
Yeah,
it's funny that I touched him.
Yeah.
They told us don't touch him, but I shook him with both of my hands back and forth. He was not happy.
Did
I
you
don't
see
think.
Meghan Markle? Because she was on that show. She held one of
I
the
did.
cases.
I mean, I don't
Was a
know.
contestant or a
No,
suitcase
she was
was a
one of the girls
suitcase
that
woman?
held the briefcase. She was a briefcase
Okay.
girl.
Oh,
That was like her claim
I
to
don't know
fame.
if she was on. No, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm not really good at people, but I am good at nominating for the Laugh Cry Club. So, in order to kick us off, let's go dun dun dun, dun again, and let's look at our lovely, the sweetest, the cutest woman I've ever seen in pink fuzzy boots and glitter eyeshadow. Our sweet, sweet, sweet Joy.
Rebecca.
I'm like, I know that's not me. Okay.
By the way, if you ever want some really good visuals to everything that we do on our podcast, please go to our Instagram, which is at Laugh Cry Club. Rebecca did a really funny photo of the Snuffleupagus boots, pink fuzzy boots.
In his boots,
Yeah.
yes.
I
And
really
you
wish I
wanted
had
to go
them.
to Cheesecake Factory.
They just got so gross because, like, there's no good way to wash those things, and they just became like a matted. Yeah, it was gross. Okay, so thank you for nominating me. I have some interesting twists to laughs and cries. My laugh this week is more about laughing at myself. I think the theme for me this week has just been to laugh at yourself and to not take, to quote the Indigo Girls, don't take life so seriously. It's only life after all. I can't sing the song for copyright infringement, but I think everyone knows Closer to Fine. So that is my theme. So I'm dog sitting right now for a hearing dog. And so we have 3 labs in the house, 3 large dogs in the house. Yesterday was a beautiful day. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to walk the 3 of them together. And I'm pretty talented with walking 2, but 3 is dicey. Like 3, I got to be really feeling on my game.
Hold on. And isn't it you have tons of snow right now
It's
at
all
your
melted,
house, right?
Yeah, it's all
Oh,
melted.
it's all melted.
Yeah.
Is it slushy at least when you're walking?
No,
Like,
everything's
how dangerous
melted.
is
Yeah,
this?
that's the thing about
just wanted to
Colorado.
check
It's
the
great.
danger.
It's so dry
Okay.
here that everything melts within like the second we get sunshine, it's like melted. So it's totally beautiful outside. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get some sunshine, walk the dogs. And I have a 13-year-old lab that I kind of like strapped to my waist and kind of like let him trail behind like a caboose because he's kind of slower. So I had like the attached leash on my waist. So he was behind me and I had the other two on either side of me. And they're 3 yellow labs. They look exactly the same. Everyone knows that I volunteer with Canine Companions and all of their dogs look the same because they breed their own dogs. They have a very specific way that these dogs are bred. So they kind of end up all looking alike. So I have 3 like similar dogs. I'm walking down the street and I got so many stares. And I was just like, there were times when I was like tangled up. Someone would like charge ahead and I'd drop it. And then like the other one behind me like got caught on a sign and he's old. So he's fine, but he like couldn't figure out how to get off. And I was like,
Poor JT.
So yeah, and so I was just like at one point, I the whole time I was walking, honestly, I was playing our podcast, like just the theme of our podcast in my head, where I'm like, there's so many times in my life I feel self-conscious about what I look like or what I'm doing or how people are perceiving me or if I wear bright colors, like whatever it is, like that's some of the things that I've historically been self-conscious about of like what people think. And yesterday as I was like walking down, like it was a sidewalk, so it wasn't like on the street or anything, but there were cars going by, of course. And I just was like, I must look like a funny variety show with like this woman with like 3 similar dogs. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to laugh at the situation. And we had a great time. And by the end of the time, I was like dragging the caboose behind me because we went a little too far. Anyway, so like the theme that has come up this week whether with like work or friends or relationships or, the stuff of life, I've been like, where can I make this lighter? So that's been kind of like my laugh. I just think it's sometimes like a coping mechanism of a tool where I'm like, if I take this too seriously, I'm going to go down a deep, dark hole. And I really just don't want to do that.
I love that. I bet people are like, who's that great dog walker? We need her number.
Ooh, I bet you could get a job.
You know what?
Yeah, do you need a job?
Do you?
I've thought about that so many times where I'm like,
I'm sure you have.
I would make so much bank if I, people knew, because people get so interested in when I say I'm a dog trainer. Now I'm not like, that is not my like full time, but I know so much about training dogs. So they always are very interested. So I'm like, I bet you I could just really, anyway, maybe that's like,
there's some irony here, right? I'm so good. I'm a dog trainer and you're wrapped in the leashes.
Yeah. You're so good.
You're amazing.
Yeah.
But can we appreciate, I feel like you could bring back the pink boots and you would that would be like a hiring bonus. If I saw you tangled with the pink boots and your cuteness and knew you were an expert in dog training, I would hire you to walk my dog.
What? Maybe that's my like, marketing is like the girl with the pink boots is the one that is the dog walker. So
what was your cry?
You're onto something.
Joy?
Okay. So my cry, this week, and I was like, should I share this? I think my mom would be okay with me sharing this because I shared last time that my uncle passed away and things have been really hard in my family. And so my mom, the last time we were recorded, she was on her way out. Well, yesterday she came back. She came back to our house and they live a couple hours from us. So they always kind of pit stop at our house for the night and then they drive home the next day. So I was sitting with her last night after she flew back and I was just talking to her. My mom was just like so nice. Do you ever have like someone in your life that's like so nice that people kind of walk? They're not a pushover, but she's so nice that like she won't stand up for herself because, stuff with family, it's not like they're taking advantage of her, but she just is so helpful that I'm like, I tend to stand up for her. So I will be like, I'll advocate for her. I'll get like really emotional and fiery if like something in the family's not going on and I'll call it out, I'll be like, hey mom, you really need to tell so-and-so. So I've been doing that a lot to advocate for her in the past like month where some things have been going on in our family. And I think with like the complication of grief mixed in with everything else that's been going on, we're sitting on the couch and she just had a whole hard week of like dealing with this loss and then dealing with a lot of like gnarly stuff that has come up like since he passed away. And I was telling her, okay, with this family member, you need to da-da-da-da-da. I started to kind of go into my like protective daughter mode of like, don't let them do this or you need to get on them about this. And she looks at me and she goes, I really can't talk about this right now. my mother has never set a boundary in her entire life. In her entire life. Like, I've never heard her say to me, like, stop. I don't, and she didn't say it like that, but in a way she was saying, like, back off. Like, I've had a week, and she's never done that. And it like made me cry in a good way, because I was like, yay, she's like sticking up for herself. And that just made me so like proud of her. And I just backed off and I shut up, and I was like, good. And now I know how to support her through this even more without kind of going in to be like protective daughter mode. So
I love that, Joy. What a good, fun, not fun, that's the wrong word, but like getting to witness somebody having a boundary and seeing that growth with somebody who you love is really, I love that.
Yeah, it was kind of shocking. Like in a way where I was like, it took me a second to digest what was happening. And then I was like, whoa, got it. Okay. So,
well, with that boundary, we should move on to our next nominee. And I'm going to introduce this next person.
I wonder who it is.
I wonder.
I am so puzzled. Who could it be?
I mean, the suspense is killing me. I am going to announce our next nominee, Rebecca, to give us her laugh, her cry, and her human experience. Rebecca, what do you have? Is it going to be a movie again? Are we pivoting out of movies?
Are you bored with my movies?
Well, I just feel like you're so good at watching movies, and I'm so slow at watching movies that I'm like, I feel like I now have this to-do list of all these movies that I'm going to just cry over.
How are you slow? There's only one speed. You don't slow the speed down and watch it,
No, but
do
you need to have time to watch it.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
I have lots of time.
I don't have a lot of time.
Chelsea doesn't like to sit and watch things. I remember that when I met you.
Yeah, I'm not good at it, but because I love Rebecca and I know they're probably amazing, I feel like now I have this list.
Well, maybe I should just tell you about them, and then you won't have to watch
notes.
Them. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
You've told me before you didn't want me to. What is it called when you tell the story?
Spoiler.
Yeah, don't tell the end. I know. Okay, I'm out.
Okay.
I'm passing it back.
Okay, so my laugh has to do with seeing some really fun comedians over the weekend. So we went on an adventure. We went into the city, which was very scary and dangerous. If you ever drive in Dallas, I thought I was going to die a few times, but went on the adventure and we went to see Chelsea Handler.
Yeah,
and she's amazing. Her tour, I think, is called the Big Little Bitch Tour. It was really great.
Fantastic.
So a lot of the stories were about when she was little. Hilarious. I mean, she was a boss even back then. So really funny. But this woman opened for her. I think her name is Yamanika Sanders. Or Saunders. She was hilarious. I actually was laughing so hard I was crying. She mostly talked all about election stuff, but she was really calling out white women, and it was hilarious. So she was really funny. Look her up, Yamanika Saunders. I just Googled was amazing.
Her. She looks great.
She calls people out. She's the type of comedian that says it. And some of that stuff that can make you a little uncomfortable. She was the one that was like razzing people in the audience. Like she was calling this guy Daddy Warbucks and was going off on this other guy. And I'm sure it was very uncomfortable, like if you were sitting up front. Because I'm like, I'm glad I'm not sitting up there. But
oh my
yeah,
God, I love
it was great.
That. The audience participation is so fun. So fun.
Which and also means like you're totally riffing. And if you're that funny riffing, you are on point. She was so good.
Yeah. That's like Atsuko Okaska. Atsuko Okaska is really good at riffing too. I saw her live. Comedy's the best to see because it just, it's so great.
It was so good. Plus, there came to Texas and there had to be all these Texas jokes, post-election. So it was really great.
We should see when they come to Alabama. It's all.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Oh,
I'm sure.
I betcha.
Yeah. So my cry, I had a cry, but I couldn't remember it. And then guess what? A cry happened today. So here we go. I was actually in a meeting listening today and my dogs were like whining, took them outside. And So Fritz, our newest rescue, he is going blind. He can see, but it's like looking through a cloudy shower door for him, is what the ophthalmologist says. He will eventually go completely blind, but he can still kind of see. So he has this thing. He likes to get the like wood chips out of my garden, like the mulch, and likes to chew on them. So he went out today, did his business. He snuffled around for this really great wood chip. He turns around and I'm standing on the porch and he has like a smile on his face. He's really proud of this wood chip. He turns around. He makes a really wide turn and we have a pool. And next thing I know, he is in the pool. And I just walk right over. I have my earbuds in. This meeting's going on. I'm like, holy shit, my dog just fell in. So I get him and kind of guide him to the stairs because he's pretty close to them. And
did you have to get in the pool or could you grab him from the side?
Yeah, I didn't have to get in because he was by the stairs anyway. So I just guided him over with his collar. He got out on his own, but my shoes were wet because he, was wet. And his poor little wood chip was in the pool. And he's just like, what the fuck happened to me?
His wood chip, buddy.
Wood chip makes it so much sadder.
And it's a little chilly today here. It's like in the 50s. So, but the pool water's probably around 60 still. But so I'm like, oh shit. So I had to get a towel and dry him off. And luckily he's a German Shepherd pointer. So he's very short fur and they dry pretty quickly. But oh my gosh, it was a panic moment that... Yeah, that's my cry.
So panicked, and he's just
my poor Fritz.
He's just so sweet that like you don't want a darn thing happening to that dog. And
no,
just like
he's been through enough.
Just a little shock that he might have had of like falling in the pool. It makes me want to cry.
It was so sad. It was so sad. So. We've actually had numerous dogs fall in the pool, and those I could probably have a whole episode about that because they're comical, but you also are crying. So anyway, I'm going to pass this over to the wonderful, magnificent, radiant,
sparkly
South Alabama sunshine beach sanding lady,
rando lover.
Oh, nice.
Chelsea.
I knew it was me. Just kidding. Oh, I'm turning red. I don't turn red a lot, but I'm red. Thank you,
You
Rebecca.
are red.
I am very red. That was such a nice intro. Okay, so my laugh and my cry. Okay, so my laugh had to do with being at a car dealership. So I'm thinking I might need to get a new car. Betty, there's a long story with Betty, but basically some of the parts that I need, she is struggling to get fixed and the trunk won't close all the way. So I'm like, Miles needs a car when he turns 16 and he doesn't care about that, but I care about that. And so I'm like, maybe I should get a car, especially with the amount of travel we do for sports and all of that, and for Steve so he could be really comfortable. So I'm a straight shooter. I'm great at buying cars. Fun fact, if you want to buy a car, I'm your person to go. I love the negotiation. I used to take like a paper and write down the number and shove it over to the person.
Oh my gosh.
God.
You're like making deals.
Oh, I'm into it.
You're
barter.
wheeling.
In California, I would like pull out some cash. Like,
wow.
This is what I have in this. I love it.
This is what I have in this envelope.
Yeah, I need to see
I
this
absolutely
in
love
action.
it. So, So I went to the dealership and I had been talking to this lady and I told her, like, listen, here's my credit. Here's the payment that I want. Here's like, I just give it straight. What can you do for me? So I'm trying out all these cars and nothing's really bringing me joy. I have to be honest. Lincoln town cars are fucking badass. Betty is a badass car. She's amazing. She's lights my heart on fire.
It's like she's got her own personality.
Yeah,
Wow.
a Honda Accord or Honda Passport, I'm like, womp, womp, womp.
That doesn't light your heart on fire?
No, it doesn't make me feel happy. They're too small. The Passport's fine. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So basically, I had told her, look, I know what I want. I'll be straight with you. If I see something that I want, I'm going to tell you I want it. If I don't, I'm just going to tell you I don't. So this isn't going to be like some hard sell. I'm in or I'm not. I don't actually need a car. I want a car for these reasons. So I was straight from the moment I met her. So I drove all these cars. Nothing made my heart feel excited. So I told her that. I said, these are all fine. They're okay, but I don't want to, I'm not going to get any of these cars. I'm definitely not getting anything today. So this woman goes, well, before you leave, my sales manager would really like to talk to you. So then I was like, well, now you pissed me off because I just told you no. So
Boundaries.
I'm like,
Boundaries.
Yeah, so I said,
Yeah.
that would be great. So I waited, and the sales manager comes over, this guy, and he like sticks out his hand, and I shake his hand, and he's smiling, ready to go. And I said, it is so lovely to meet you. My time is my most valuable asset, and I think yours is too. And so I'm going to save us both time right now by telling you there's absolutely nothing you can say or do right now to get me into a car today because I don't want any of these cars. And he just sat there and stared at me, and his jaw was dropped.
Go Chelsea.
And I said, there's nothing wrong with the salesperson other than I said no, and she brought you over. I said, so I want to thank you. And I said the woman's name for your time. And I stood up and shook her hand and I looked at him. And you know how I walked out? Slow. I walked out slow.
Like
because
slow,
I'm like,
slow.
slow. Like I'm going to hold this room like you've never held it before because
Damn.
now you pissed me off.
That's a boss bitch
That is
move.
boss.
It
bitch.
I told her my boundary. If I want something, I'm going to buy it. If I don't want something, I'm going to tell you no.
Oh, I think you just nailed like an aha moment. Is like, especially in sales, they completely run over your boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah. And that pisses me off because I'm like, I just spent time with you. And here's the thing, if she would have found what I wanted and been like, let me take my time and I'll find some other things, like I would have stayed in contact and used her because she could find what I want. But it bothered me when she didn't hear my no and then brought over the guy. And my first inclination was like, I'm going to get up and walk out. But then I was like, no. I'm going to have a conversation that's one-sided of myself speaking only. And then I'm going to leave.
I love this so much. I can totally visualize it. You actually just had a mic drop. I love it.
I did have a
Totally
mic
did.
drop. And you guys, I was so cute. My outfit was on point. I had this cute little vintage Chanel bag that I had with. I curled my hair. I got all the way ready. And then I took myself to dinner afterwards.
And you had some Prosecco.
It was so nice. I just had an iced tea because I had to drive home, but it was amazing.
Did you share it with other people?
I had no friends at the barbecue restaurant that I went to. I was actually really exhausted and kind of peopled out after test driving cars. So that was my laugh and it was hilarious. And now we'll see. I have a new person helping me at a different dealership and I've given it to him straight and we'll see how this works out. My cry was a tear up. So I guess I had this thing the other night. I was laying in bed and I was in between sleep where you're not all the way asleep, but you're kind of asleep. And there's been a lot going on this week. And I just started praying and I was praying and praying and praying. And I realized that I think I've been kind of pissed at God for a while and I haven't acknowledged it. So I've been praying, but like going through the motions of praying. I wasn't feeling spiritual. I wasn't feeling faith. I was feeling like apathy. And so in this moment, I was praying and I was like, oh my gosh, I have not told you, God, like I've been mad. I think I haven't really acknowledged this. And I don't know what anybody else believes, but I believe God already knows what you're thinking. So you might as well just say it. You don't have to like fake it. It's like the relationship where you
The jig is up. You're like,
yeah.
I think you read your mind.
We're all in. Yeah. So I felt really tearful because I felt that spiritual closeness again, where I felt really comforted and I felt really held and I felt really grateful. I always say thank you to God like 100 times a day, but I stopped asking for stuff. I stopped saying like, I pray for this person. I pray for that. Like I was like, well, just do whatever you want because you're just doing whatever you want anyways. But I'm full circle and it felt really good. And it was interesting how disconnected I had been. Like I wasn't meditating as much. I wasn't writing my letters to God that I normally do. Like I had pulled back for probably like the last, I don't know, maybe a couple months. So that was my cry. Not a weepy cry, but like a grateful, kind of sad cry.
well done, everyone. We're really kicking the laughing and crying. I am going to hold that visual of you walking slowly out of the dealership for like, I just have such a picture in my head. It totally reminds me of the energy you brought when you were dressed up as Barbie and you were like, the only thing you should be saying to me is thank you. Like that is exactly what I envision and being like, just so you know, you're not going to change my mind. Like you say it in a very like authoritative but calm way. Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Oh, man. Well, let's get to the second half of the show where we are, again, if you want to learn some helpful tips and tricks for navigating being a human and learn some, therapy stuff, Joy's going to kick us off with our topic this week. I'm really excited about this topic, actually.
I am too. It's so timely with a lot of stuff going on in the world, but I just think it applies to it does apply to every single human on the planet. So if you are a human and you are absorbing this podcast, this is for you. Listen up, buckle up, listen up.
I just have to say something. We keep saying, if you are a human. It's like, who else is listening to this podcast?
Snuffle up, I guess.
My cat has been finding this podcast.
I know. I know the animals do too, but I feel like, is this being
That's a great way.
put out to the universe and like alternate life is listening? I
Maybe
like it.
An alien.
I love it.
Let's not talk about aliens in space right now.
Okay, so we'll get back to
Okay.
the human.
So all the
Part
humans
of it.
listening, we talked last week about radical acceptance, accepting the reality of where we are and in relationships with friends, with family, with work, what we bring to the table. Now, let me give you a kickoff for this example or for this topic. When I was in therapy in my 20s, I remember my therapist telling me, nobody shows up naked to a party, meaning you guys are both laughing.
Okay.
I had the
I'm going to have to hear the rest of it.
Well, it depends on the
Was
party.
this a male therapist or a
No.
female?
She was great. Here's the context. She
Okay.
was meaning everyone brings baggage, everyone brings stuff. But we're talking about everyone comes in with their stuff. Everyone shows up to a relationship, to a workplace with baggage, with drama, so if we're ever because at the time I was kind of looking at life like I'm the damaged one. And she was like, no one shows up naked to the party. We all have our stuff. But whether or not we choose to kind of look at it is a whole nother topic, is a whole nother issue. So how do we accept fully that like we show up to all of our relationships with our stuff, and how do we look at it? Because that is really hard to do, to accept your situation and look at how you're playing a part in that situation.
I'm just going to say, what's your role?
What's your role?
What's your role
Not do
in
I have
this
a role.
dynamic? Yeah, not do I, what is it?
Yeah, because we all have a role.
Yeah. So for example, I'll use myself as another example. Is like I have a tendency to have a really hard time like apologizing, which you would think that I'm like good at. But like in my relationship, sometimes I'm like,
Okay, we're jaw dropped. What?
yes,
What?
I totally do.
This is like Rebecca not being in spooky spirit at Halloween. I feel like this is a
Who are
confessional
you?
show. Okay.
I know we're learning about each other. I maybe not so much with friends, but like with partnerships or like I have a hard time being like, I messed up. I'm sorry. I will, but I feel it I feel like this resistance of like, oh, it's so hard. I feel the resistance in my body when I'm like, I want to like be so good. And like, always, my sign, Rebecca asked what my sign is. I'm a Virgo. So it's like very much like everything's by the book. Everything's very organized. So a lot of my personal work is to always look at where I'm showing up my marriage, my relationship. So I'm always like, where do I show up? I'm not the perfect little angel. I had a big chip on my shoulder for the longest time. It's a lot of like religious trauma from growing up in a very religious town. But that is something that is my work, but it's taken a lot of time. So that's like an example of, the self-awareness, which we could even talk another 2 hours about self-awareness and kind of how you need to develop that, or the emotional intelligence. Like, it's not just as easy as being like, how do I show up? Because that brings like a whole flood of complicated emotions for people. So
I'm going to simplify it really simple by giving an example that I give to clients. Let's just say this is not my life or anybody else's. This is just an example. So let's just say every year at Christmas, I go and my mother's favorite daughter is my other sister, not me. And so every year at Christmas, I'm like, oh, maybe she'll notice that I, did my hair the way she liked it. Or maybe if I buy her this present, she's really going to acknowledge me. And so you're showing up with like feeling less than, making yourself small, and then knowing historically that your mom is going to put you down and build up your sister because the sister's a favorite. And then I go to Christmas dinner and I'm sitting at the table and my mom goes, well, your sister, I'll just say Rebecca, your sister Rebecca, she's so amazing and she's doing this. And look at Rebecca's present. And this is so thoughtful. But Joy, well, and I'm Joy and I'm like, oh, now I'm so upset because my mom did this. Okay, well, radical acceptance is your mother has shown you who she is. Your family dynamic's been this way for the past 30 something years. When you show up, it doesn't mean, ouch, it's not going to hurt, but this is what she does. So how can you accept this is how my mom is. This is how she is with my sister. And how do I want to be? Because I don't have to be the victim. And that's where we get really, and people go like, ew, I hate that example, or I don't like this. Listen, I don't like it either. But we always have a role of how we show up. We always have a role of what is our part. And I always say your role might be, it's 2 lanes. Yours just might be a bike lane. You don't maybe have your whole role as an even part in this relationship, but you always have a part. Rebecca, I'm passing it to you.
No, I was just going to say it's acceptance, but without judgment, right?
Well, without judgment towards yourself.
Right, towards yourself.
Yeah.
Towards yourself, because we always judge ourselves, right? We're always like, oh, like Joy, you were talking about comparing yourself to other people.
Oh, yeah. Like
So-
we're our own worst critic.
Yeah. Because when we judge things, then we obviously have emotions about it and there's pain attached to it. And so that just prolongs the emotional experience. So if we accept what's happening, don't judge it, this is what it is, then we will move on faster from the experience. We'll have less pain for a longer time period then.
It's almost like you're participating in an unhealthy dynamic. So oftentimes I will tell clients that are in that, I'll say, oh, and it really let's just be honest, it very frequently comes up with family members and family dynamics. Okay, so I'm just going to use that as an example. Okay, so let's say we're going to that holiday party and, this stuff is going to come up with your mom. Picture yourself on one side of the fence and they are on the other side of the fence, and everything that you do, every action that you take, is it contributing to growing a beautiful garden? Or are you crapping in your own lawn because you're letting them get their crap all over yours? So tend to your garden, stay on your side of the fence, make it pretty, let them have their crap on the other side, and do not let that infiltrate into the beauty that you want to create into your life. Is it sad that you don't have a really close relationship with a friend, a family member, whoever's like this is coming out for? Yeah, it's sad. It's sad that you didn't get dealt the hand in life that you should have had, an unconditional, loving, non-judgmental family member. But the radical acceptance is this is what I have and this is what I can control. So I'm going to keep growing that beautiful garden. And the other thing is when people get healthy in families, they want to come over to your garden and mess it up because they don't like that. They don't like that you upset the apple cart of the dysfunction. So, but yeah, as far as kind of to your point, Chelsea, of like, what can you control? Every act that you take is an act of self-love for yourself, that you're not getting involved. You're not stepping into the ring. You're not getting into that gnarly dynamic that just feels so icky that we've talked about before.
I would add maybe deeper here is we have to watch our attachment to what's going on. Like Chelsea, you're talking about maybe trying to get accepted by your mom. So you have an attachment to your mom and wanting her to, like you, show you praise. And if you start examining that attachment and not giving it so much power and just recognizing reality is for 30, 40 something years, this is the way it's been. It's not going to change right now. This is who she is. And once I can detach from this attachment that I want this thing, then we'll have less pain.
I love that you said that attachment piece, because we then recreate these attachments throughout our lives. And that also might be your role. Now, that is deeper work, and we will at some point have a podcast on attachment, but that can be your role. I have an anxious attachment, so I already feel like someone's criticizing me, but that person's not. It's just that you had a family member who criticized you, or you're avoidant, you're shutting down. That is a very deep wound, attachment wounds. And so I do want to give 2 tips and tricks. Number 1, curiosity neutralizes judgment. If you do not want to be judgmental towards yourself or towards another, all you have to do is get curious. So, ouch, I noticed that hurt when my mom talked about how great my sister was, gosh, I wonder what that's all about. I wonder how long I felt like this. I wonder how I could take care of myself, or I wonder what I need right now. Like, how can we be compassionately curious? Also, observing your mom, you can look and see, I mean, I've done this in my own life. Like, gosh, they have their own attachment wounds. They have their own hard stuff they've been through. Like, I can't imagine going through life this way and how hard that would be to be having to do this like really dysfunctional dance, right? We've seen people who are going through maybe creating chaos, and it's like, wow, that's a really hard way to live. And I can have compassion for them. That will neutralize the judgment. Judgment hurts us, good or bad, black and white, all of that. Judgment is a killer. The other thing that I will say is when we practice acceptance, we no longer are needlessly suffering. So every time I want something to be a way that isn't aligned with reality, I needlessly suffer. When we think about this in relationships, every time we're rejecting somebody in our mind because they're the person who's doing the thing wrong and they're doing this and they're doing that, you have a choice if you're going to continue in that relationship. And if you choose to stay and choose to keep them close, or choose to, whether that's a husband, whether that's a wife, whether that's an adult child, whether that's a friend, every time we go down that toxic brain thing that happens to us, we are needlessly suffering because we're fighting with reality. Well, my mom should be nice to me. She should accept that I bought this gift. She should acknowledge how hard I've worked and how successful I am. She should say I'm a good mom. The should is needless suffering. So
that's a great point, because that's also based on your expectations, right?
Yes.
Because you think,
Rebecca,
oh, your mom's supposed to love you and do all these things, right? Because that's what society says. So we're all born and that's our expectation. My mom is supposed to be this person. Well, guess what? Some moms aren't. So we also have to release that expectation.
And like resentment too. If it's coming from resentment, like you're just so pissed that you're like, they should be doing it. You're so hooked on being mad about what happened and the person that they never were for you. That comes up.
Resentment's a fun one, because resentment is actually a clue that there's a boundary violation. So if we think about that example of the mom, maybe the boundary violation was that I spent all this money on a gift for my mom and she's singing the praises to my sister who got her nothing.
Wow, that's a good point.
That's a great point.
Yeah. So
can you say that again? Can you explain it in like a different way so people, because my brain kept.
Yeah. So when you feel resentment, it means that you are crossing a boundary, which means you're actually not okay with the behavior that you're doing. So people say, I'm resentful. My husband's, I don't know, blowing all this money on this car, but I felt like I had to say yes because, you know, he deserved the car and he really wanted it. And it's like, but it's your money. You could have said no, but I felt like I had to. Or your kid's a brat.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, listen how mean I sound right now. Your kid's having this entitlement and you don't want to drive them to their friend's house. You don't want to spend that extra $14 on the ice cream they want and $85 at Sephora. So you're resentful towards your kid. You know, you're taking up all my time. You're spending all my money. You're doing this and this, but no, you're doing that.
So essentially it's because, say, that person has relaxed boundaries. They want to have a boundary, but they haven't really set it forth. Is that right?
They have abandoned themselves because they want a different outcome. They want to buy their mom the expensive gift, hoping that she's going to be like, I love you. Wow, that was so thoughtful. That was so great. They let their husband get the car because they want him to be appreciative and grateful. They spoil the kid because they want the kid to love them. And they don't want to say no and they don't want rejection. But really inside, everything's screaming, no, 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 no. But you're doing it anyways after you already know.
You're like setting things up to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what you said, and I want to repeat it, is resentment is a boundary violation.
Resentment is a clue that you have violated one of your own boundaries, your values. We think of something that matters to you values-wise, your time, your energy, your emotions. One of those areas is being impacted. The mother who's exhausted and still driving the kids at midnight. Like, no, you need to rest and just say no to your kid. And it's okay that your kid's mad, you know, but instead it becomes resentment. And so, fun fact, Brene Brown's research, the most compassionate human beings are the most boundaried. When I say compassionate, like authentically compassionate, who have an abundance of compassion. You will not run out of it if you are aligned with your values. So it's okay to say no.
Well, this just brings up for me as you were talking where I'm like, we could do another episode about this which is why we have the Laugh Cry Club, because we can just do as many as we want. The ability to say no is a whole other problem. The ability to say no, the ability to set a boundary is really hard. Like I was just talking about my mom earlier where I'm like, wow, I've never heard her. She doesn't hold resentment, but like for people who do that, to then take it to the next level. And as we're kind of talking about today of like where you show up and what you bring to the party is you cannot be resentful because you have to work on setting boundaries. You created this situation. That's hard to hear, but I often find myself saying that in therapy too, where I'm like, I know this is hard to hear, but like your part in this is A, B, and C. So I like that you brought that up because it kind of parlays into like how we show up and being able to swallow that bitter pill of like, wow, I haven't been such a nice person.
Well, I think we can even take it just a little bit back and say, we all, Rebecca says it well, we all want to be liked. We all want to be loved. Our loved ones matter to us. Our relationships matter to us. And sometimes we forget where we end and where they begin. And it can be really hard to have an expectation and not have it be the way you want it to be. So I would say if you're feeling resentment, get really curious about what am I doing that I actually don't want to be doing? What am I saying yes to? Am I spending a week at Christmas when really I just should have been having dinner? Am I engaging in this conversation with a sibling about something that is wasting my time and all we're going to do is argue and it's going to be the same thing? How can we show ourselves love first and connect with ourselves first so that we can accept the hard, painful realities that some of us have when we wished we had better or we wished we had different? So I would say be really curious and gentle on yourself. And whether you have a full side of the street or a bike lane, you can always sweep up your side. We can always get a chance to do it again. And you can't know better. I think it's Maya Angelou. You can't know better until you can't do better till you know better.
When you know better, you do better. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So maybe this will be like a little helpful when you know better. You can try a little bit better. And what better time than the holidays?
I like that action step too, because I was going to say, let's end on like something that people tangible can walk out of here and say, just being curious builds that awareness to then say, how do I show up to this situation? It doesn't require a lot of change, but just that step one awareness. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think that's the curiosity, like you're saying, is like the foundation. So when you show up, you also need to think about your energy. What energy am I bringing into this situation? How am I presenting myself? You know, am I presenting myself as somebody that's open and engaging to this conversation? Am I having assumptions about this person, situation, whatever? And am I having expectations? Because those are things that we can just do little checklists in our brains. I oftentimes have to check my expectations and be like, oh, stop. You know, you're expecting something that this person has no idea about, so we got to roll that back.
Yeah, like the story in my head that Brene
or they're not
says.
even capable.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where I can get it, where I'm like, this person isn't even capable. And ouch, that hurts. Man, that hurts.
That acceptance is hard.
Oh,
and
it's so
and you
hard.
cannot change it. You can, no matter how many gifts you buy, no matter what. Yeah. So really good conversation. It makes me think of this quote that I heard, oh gosh, ages ago. I think Oprah said it was, please be responsible for the energy you bring into this room. And I once had that on my office door back when this was like my first job, but I had it on my office door. Like, please be responsible for the energy you bring into this room. So it's like, are you bringing, like, what do you bring? What are you showing up in the room at work? Are you showing up to a relationship? Like, be responsible for that. So be curious. So next week, we're going to talk about boundaries. We're going to go into a little more detail about what the heck are boundaries? Why do we need them? We mentioned them a little bit today. Maybe you're really good at it. Maybe you're like Chelsea, where you're like at the dealership and like, all you need to say to me is thank you. And maybe you struggle.
All you need to say is nothing.
So if you have a question about that, you can email us laughcryclub@gmail.com if you want to know more about a certain topic that you would like to hear us discuss, or if you have a personal question you want us to read on the show, we can absolutely do that. And we can keep everything anonymous. So keep that in mind that if you want it to be anonymous, we will not share any identifying information. And yeah, I think that this has been such a wonderful, in-depth conversation about emotions and emotional intelligence and developing that awareness that hopefully will improve the relationships you have in your lives. So we're so grateful that you've been here with us listening. You can follow us on Instagram @LaughCryClub, where we have wonderful, funny. It's very funny. We keep it light. We just laugh at ourselves. But we're so glad you're here. Thank you for supporting us.
We're so glad. We're so glad you're in the club. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited for next week, our little part 2 to add some boundaries. It's going to help. So if today was a little bit like a heavy to digest, we're going to give you so many practical things next week that you're going to be like, oh, this is clicking.
You're going to be ready
to
go.
So if you felt like this wasn't clicking, the resentment piece, especially because that was a big one, we're going to teach you those boundaries next week, and it's going to be amazing. Until then, happy Thanksgiving week if you are celebrating that holiday, because this is going to drop on a Monday. So maybe you have the week off. Thank you for all the support and the love that you all give us. And it is an absolute pleasure to be in this club.
We're so grateful. On the Thanksgiving week, we are just so grateful for you. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for supporting us. And until next time,
see ya.
Bye.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's life, baby.